Hi there, I'm Shabbir Dahod, President and CEO of TraceLink, and today what I'd like to talk to you about is Industry 4.0. And really one of the biggest challenges with Industry 4.0 is understanding, where it fits in historically in the context of the evolution of the different industries that we've been in, as well as what is the strategic foundation required in order to have long-term success with Industry 4.0 initiatives. And so let's first start with, where did we come from, right? So when you think about the multiple industrial revolutions that we have undergone over the last 100 to 200 years, it really started in the Industry 1.0 around the actual mechanization and creating machines themselves that are steam powered or water powered that could actually replace human handwork with actually machine work. Then with Industry 2.0, what we really learned was how to be very efficient and effective at mass production, assembly lines. And so things like, automobile construction, all that were moved from, individual workshops to produce one car to assembly lines that could produce, hundreds to thousands of cars with everyone doing, individual independent pieces of it. And then with Industry 3.0, we saw the next productivity improvement where we're able to replace humans doing the work on assembly lines with computers and IT systems and robotics to really optimize, to drive up quality, to drive up productivity, to drive up throughput. The Industry 4.0 opportunity is really about not so much about optimizing and industrializing at a factory or an enterprise level. It's really about how do we industrialize at a cross industry perspective. So not just my company, but how do we work together across networks, and how do we apply intelligence that's gathered from those networks, and how do we actually get end-to-end digitalization of networks to drive improvement at a macro industry level. And so in order for us to be successful at Industry 4.0, what we need to be able to do is have intercompany networks that connect people and systems and processes across the end-to-end supply chains, and then be able to share information on these end-to-end supply chains such that we're able to have real-time flow of information all the way from demand and purchasing all the way to the endpoints of raw materials, and the ability to integrate all of that information on an end-to-end basis across the industry such that we can then share information in real time, and then be able to work collaboratively to have decision making occur in a more effective manner, in a more decentralized manner. And we make those decisions based upon collective intelligence. That means that intelligence not just from my systems and my data, but intelligence from what's happening on the raw material side to what's happening on the demand side. And this will now power the next set of growth for the industry as well as productivity. At TraceLink, what we have done is we've created a core platform that supercharges digitalization, enables you to create these networks at a super high speed rate, and that can be really defined not just at the industry level, but also specific to what your needs are. We started that with the track and trace implementation that we've done across the pharmaceutical industry, where we have integrated over 1,300 customers with over 270,000 entities to basically digitalize the end-to-end pharmaceutical supply chain at a global level. Now what we're doing is we're also integrating in work management to work across all industries so that you can integrate the work that goes on across the supply chain. And then we are moving towards recalls, commerce, logistics. So what we're doing is we're creating a network of networks, but all those network of networks can also work collectively across those processes to drive predictive intelligence and real-time understanding of what's happening in the supply chain so we can all be smarter together. And so finally, why is this important? Well, this is important because of the challenges we're facing today in the supply chains. Have to deal with shortages and disruption with transportation, with manufacturing because of lack of labor, with spikes in demand, that occur based upon the changes in consumer behavior. And so all of that is requiring all of us to work in a much more agile manner, in a much more responsive manner. And in order for us to be successful, we need to have the ability to really have a single dashboard that we can look at and understand that if there are issues that are going on in the supply chain, that we have instant visibility, that we have concise information, that the right teams are getting the information to be able to respond very quickly. And so they can be 60% faster resolving these issues. We can reduce the number of issues by 35%. They get early notifications. They can define workflow collaboration that is specific for their company, but also interoperable with everybody else's workflow that they're implementing across the whole supply chain. So we have a tremendous opportunity with a platform that has never existed before to really drive Industry 4.0 digitalization through TraceLink's Opus platform. Thank you for your time.